Well, this is John the Vintage Fisherman. I'm back. I got a box of reels in yesterday that I bid on. Gosh, it's been a good month or two now. And I bid specifically on this box to get this 410, Garcia Mitchell 410. It's in pretty good shape. There was actually a couple reels in that box. I wanted this 754. I had one like this as a kid. It's in pretty good shape. I think I've got another spool, but I can make that spool pretty again. This reel doesn't, well, we'll get into this one later. But anyway, these are two of the reels that I found in the box that I really liked. And so I bid on, I think I got the whole box for, it was like $12. So why not, right? So this little reel here is, I think it's going to make us a nice one to work on here. Right off the bat, this handle is stuck. Let's see if I can get it loose without scratching it. There we go. Yep, that could use a good cleaning. And we'll back pedal it here. Take that handle off. You got the handle and the little washer cup, and that's it. There's no washer in there. We'll take the spool off. There's a couple things that's wrong with this reel. That's kind of neat. It still has the old line sticker on it. The Plateau, Garcia Plateau line. It's the bail's a little rusty, but I think I got another bail for it. Oh gosh. And it's not tripping the bail, and the anti-reverse is kind of sticky. So we'll get it fixed. Take all this apart and clean it up. So I could have swore this is supposed to have a another washer on this side. I'll pull the schematic on it. I don't have one of these 410s currently. This will be my only one. You don't see them very often, honestly. So, well, the anti-reverse has decided it wanted to work now. Isn't that something? The bail is just, I think it's just the spring. I've got bail springs, and like I said, this bail's got rust. We're not gonna use that. We'll put a pretty one on there. Let's take this side piece off. Weather's really heating up here in Virginia. We went from last week, we were lucky to get out of the 60s most of the week, to all of a sudden it's like 80 out there today, or maybe warmer. That's warm for the mountains of Virginia this time of year. Kind of enjoying this AC after working out in the heat all day. So like I said, if this reel cleans up as good as I think it is, it'll go into my personal collection, just because I don't have one. What I generally do is I try to keep one of each reel that I can find in a collection, a line of reels. And if I find a prettier one, I'll buy that one and then stick one of these on my eBay store. And that's how I just kind of cull them out, just like you would a fish in a tournament. You keep the big ones, put the smaller ones back until you get a really nice collection. So I would think that spring was supposed to be up under there. You got this gear comes off. Don't see any washers under. I know there's some shims under this sucker. There always is. Well, I don't see any under there. Somebody could have very well been into this thing at some time or another. And we'll cut the anti-reverse off. Oh, interesting. This one has the clicker, and it's got the anti-reverse bearing, which seems to be in okay shape. That's interesting. That's the first one I've seen like that, so y'all might have to enlighten me on that if you know the deal. Let's take this little guy here, the pawl out of there. That's the one that makes it click. But this one has instant anti-reverse all the time, so that's different. That is very different. We got this gear here, just lifts off. That's your cross wind. Here's your cross wind block. This combination between this and that is what makes this reel have a alternating oscillation. You know, it goes out and then it comes back in, and it kind of, you know, it kind of does that little thing there. But there is your shaft, your spool shaft. Then there's 2 screws to take out. Take this plate out of here. Sometimes these screws can really be stuck because they go through to the outside, and that outside gets corrosion on them if they've been used near salt water. This size reel normally doesn't get used in salt water, but it could be used for inshore, light inshore. There, that comes out. We're almost done here. I've got this cap at the back. That's your oil. That's where you put the oil in this reel at. I always take that out because it just looks better at the end of the day. Take that out and clean it separately. These are usually butterflied. People use the wrong size screwdriver. That one's probably never been out. All right, so this one has the, I believe that's going to be, I might get lucky and it'd be a 10, it's a 12, okay. Has the one nut, take that off. Put that right there. And you go pull this off of here, but there's going to be shims on both sides of that plate, okay. And that also has an anti-reverse in it. It looks like it's missing some things that might be interesting. But this little shim, you gotta get that out of there. You'll lose it in the washer if you don't. I would suggest if you ever tear these reels down, don't tear 2 or 3 of them down at a time. Because if you do, you're gonna have parts mixed up, and well, I'm just speaking from experience, okay? And that little shim's not wanting to come out there, so we'll get a hold of it and pull it out. And there it is. So there's the housing. We'll scrape that grease out of there. I'm a little concerned because I'm looking down into, okay, pay attention here. Some of the rollers are missing out of that anti-reverse gear in there. Okay, that comes there. You gotta remember how these went. These went on the bottom side of this plate. The shim went towards this brass piece. Well, that sucks. Those little rollers are missing out of there, but I have a feeling I can probably find them somewhere. I think that whole cage comes out. There's the top half of the cage. So we got 2 of them now. I'm sure I can find those. Not sure what happened to them, but there's several missing. You can probably, no, that won't work, because if you stagger them, then the cage actually collapses instead of stopping it. So I will need to find those pins. I'm missing 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. That one is not missing any. That's a different size than this one. So I'm going to have to look this up. This reel may get put on hold while I'm finding parts. I'm not going to take the bell trip out. No point in that. I am going to remove this screw here. I'll take the bell off of it. We'll take the line roller out. That actually might be an actual line roller in that one. Some of these just have like a little pin that goes in there basically. I don't know if it actually turns or not, but that one. Yes, this one actually has a line roller. So this is a really nice reel. I really like it. So I may not have a bale because it's not going to be made like that. So I may have to come up with another plan. Sucks that chrome is just messed up because the rest of this reel is in really good shape. It's going to need a bell spring from what I can tell. Well, the bell spring is slipped. Yeah, that bell spring is shot. I think I've got some of those brand new. So there's the reel. I don't know why it's missing those rollers or where they could have gone to. I think somebody's had this reel apart. I will look up the parts tonight when I get a chance, and I may be able to polish this up a little bit, but it's not going to be real pretty. It's a little bent, but it may just have to go the way it is because I like that line roller. That's a really neat feature on this reel. That's really nice. It's supposed to be a deluxe reel, 410. Tell me about it. You know, I don't know much about these things, so while I'm sitting here talking, let's get rid of some of this grease that's up inside of it. Yeah, if any of you know anything about the 410 out there, want to educate me, I'm always up for an education on old reels. It helps me be a better buyer, collector, and seller. Some things don't, you know, once I find out about them, I don't really want them. You know, it's not what fits my collection. So what I'm doing here is I'm just scraping out some of that heavy stuff that's in the housing. Got that. This is relatively clean, nothing to worry about there. There's a little bit of grease on this that'll come off in the. This is really nasty. This will all come off. All right. What I'm going to do here is just kind of wipe everything down with this rag. The parts cleaner will clean this up really nicely. It'll be like brand new. And some of these parts are just like the 300, if you ask me. And then some are very different. This is kind of a neat reel. It's unique. I'm going to have to do a little research. Try to find some parts and all that good stuff. It's nothing real complicated, just like the 300 in a lot of ways. That trip is a little bit bent. That's probably part of the problem with it not snapping back. That and the messed up spring, which I'll look for a spring before I come back with the assembly of the reel. Like I said, I may have to order parts, and if I do, it's not going to come back together anytime soon. So I had a comment on one of my older videos about washing reels, how I clean them. So I'll go over it real quick. I have an ultrasonic cleaner. And if I have found through trial and error, if you put a painted reel in an ultrasonic cleaner, it will selectively, somewhere on this reel, remove the paint. It for no rhyme or reason, And this thing I just noticed has someone's initials. M-A-F-M-P. Nice. So I clean the bodies, the rotors, covers, spools in a desktop parts washer that has WD-40 in it. I don't even run a pump. I just submerge the parts in it, pick them up, use a brush, and brush them off. And then I blow out the excess. I have found that the WD-40 will not remove stickers. I've been doing it this way for 40 years, so listen to me. WD-40 is not a solvent. WD-40 is a lubricant, but it's not a solvent. So it won't take stickers off. It won't take the shine off this Abu Garcia Cardinal. It won't take this sticker. It won't do any of that stuff. And these reels that have like imprinted stuff on them, I don't have any here. Well, I do. Hold on. Reels that have, well, this one really doesn't. But it doesn't take off things that are imprinted on the reel. Let me hold on a second. Here's a parts reel. So like where it says Abu Garcia on there, it won't take that off. You won't even see it. It actually highlights it. So that's why all the body parts go into the WD-40. Now my ultrasonic, I use 2 gallons of water, a gallon of Simple Green, and about a half a cup of Dawn. And I put that in there, and I'll top it off with water as it evaporates, because I'm in a basement, so I got dehumidifiers running down here everywhere. We're in Virginia, humidity's high. And so it'll evaporate out of there, and I'll just top it. I'll actually pour the water out of the dehumidifier back into the ultrasonic tank. And that seems to clean with very low impact. It won't discolor brass or aluminum. It just does a really nice job. It'll sometimes take a piece of aluminum like this and discolor it a little bit dark. And I don't know why it is, but it doesn't, like, turn it a real ugly color. It just makes it darker. So anyway, that's how I clean stuff. And I've been doing it like, the ultrasonic's new. I've been using it for about 2 years now, maybe 3. I also use it for firearms, because I clean firearms for my collection. So I don't generally, I don't clean stuff for other people. I'm not an FFL. I'm not a gunsmith. I take care of my own things. But, and same thing with my fishing reels. I don't clean fishing reels for other people. I clean them for myself. So I use that ultrasonic quite extensively, and I haven't had any problems with it, with anything causing rust or discoloration. Brass parts usually come out looking like they were just machined. It's amazing. The Dawn does that. Dawn dishwashing liquid is some amazing stuff. But I just wanted to go through real quick, because I had a question about it today and how I do it. And I've been very successful with it. My collector reels, when they come in here, they look like crap, because I can't afford to go buy brand new old reels. I buy reels that have been used, real life usage, and I try to make them look good again, as good as I can. So my method's pretty tried and true by me anyway. So anyway, I'll be back when I get this thing cleaned up, and we'll put a reel together. Hope I'll have all the parts. Well, I'm back. It's been a few days, and I'm on a little bit of a time constraint here. I'm gonna try to build this reel pretty quick, but I have an appointment I have to be to. But I've been waiting on parts, and I finally got this brand new bearing in. This is for the handle. The bearing that was, well, okay, so the bearing, wait a minute, no, this is the, okay, just never mind me. It's not the bearing for the handle. The one I got in is the one for the, oh, geez, rotor. Yeah, goes up in the rotor. So I had to order some parts for this reel. I ordered a brand new, got the roller in it, so I can just oil that up. Bail. The other bail was a little rusty, you know, and I didn't want to. See, it's got some bad rust where the chrome is flaked off of it. So we'll save that. I had the right bell spring in stock, so that bell spring can go to the trash. I had two of these roller bearings. They have the same needles inside of them, so I'm going to reuse those needles. So I believe I got everything. I believe it's all here. We're going to make an attempt to put it all back together here. This is a really nice looking little reel. You know, it's in good shape. That could probably use bending just a little bit. It seems a little weak. This is the spring for the bell release. I'm going to just give it a little bend like that and then roll it back into position. And that should give that just a little more. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's put this bad boy together. I don't have one of these 410s in my collection, so this one's definitely going in the collection. And that goes like that. Oh yeah, and I gotta get that post. Sometimes it's easier on these to put this in there like that, if you can get it in there like that. There we go. And then you've got this shouldered screw that will go in there. I've been waiting for parts for a week for this reel, believe it or not. That's a record, I believe. And everybody shipped really promptly. It's just some stuff had to come from. I think might have got some stuff from like Canada or someplace. I put the wrong bell on there. Let's just go back with what we started with. Hang on just a minute. You gotta laugh at yourself sometimes, you know. Let's set that out of the way so we don't do that again. All right, this one will go. See, there's a post there, and I found it's easier to set the bell spring on the outside of that post. Set the bell spring down into the housing, just like that. Well, just like that. Just like that. There we go. Then start to screw. I've got a backlog of reels that I've gotten in to work on for my collection and can't get to them because this thing has been taking up room on my bench and I just haven't gotten around to I didn't want to take it off the bench and put it in a box. And that's got to, okay, you see this bumper right here has got to be on the back side of that, so sometimes you got to loosen it up and squeeze it over and then take it back. Look, I'm gonna have this right here in just a second. All right, that's got that. I like to put a little bit of grease on this side also. This reel will probably never get used in salt water, but if it does, these screws won't get stuck. That screw's not in the prettiest shape in the world. I may try to find one off one of my other reels. I didn't really pay attention to that, but locks in, and then when the reel comes around, it fires the bell. There's the bell. Now this bearing I just got in, it's right here. It's a brand new one. Nice and pretty. Cut this thing open. Well, actually I don't have to. It's already open. sure there's a particular way that thing goes. I want to say it goes like this, and I'm going to oil or grease, John? Oil or grease? Let's give it just a little bit of super grease. Just a little bit. Mix that around in there a little bit. Didn't put a whole lot in there. I think this goes in like that. There was a shim, and I got some more shims in this package. They were supposed to be these shims. They sent me the wrong thing. Always go back with the shim that came out of it, okay? That it was sent from the factory. Let's hope nobody else has monkeyed around with it, and it should be fine. And that will go on, and that will go on. There it goes. It's pretty smooth. That's trash. Now it got this plate. It got back the plate out. I want to say it gets that in there. No, that can't be right. Okay. That goes in. I believe it was the shim, then the washer, then the nut. Let's put just a little bit of grease on that. Nope. There it goes. And I usually just use a crescent wrench. Just a little bit of play in there. Well, I may end up having to use one of these shims here. So maybe it was a good thing I got the wrong shims. Let's see what happens. We're going to take that back apart, and I'm going to stick one of these shims in there on the pinion. Like I said, I looked up the part number on eBay according to the schematic. You see, I got them highlighted, and I ordered, this was supposed to be the part that I needed, and I ordered it, and I got the wrong thing. But luckily, I've got about a half a dozen of these Mitchells over there in a box. The 300s, which is basically the same deal. You know, it's the same reel. And so I got, let's just look at something else here. It's not really showing that shim right there. I may actually have that in the wrong place. Let's put that under there. Put this out here. It doesn't show it on the schematic at all. I found that these old Mitchell schematics are really subpar. If y'all know of a better site to get them off of that has, there we go. That's not enough to even adjust. So we'll put those shims to the side. There's some parts that can stay off to the side. We'll keep those in a little bag. That's how it should have been, I believe. Oh, Lordy. Yeah. So let's see if the trip works. There we go. All right, we're back in business. The next thing will be the axle. I always try to give it just a little bit of oil. And it goes on in there, and then this piece will go in just like that. Let's put a little bit of grease. And this grease will squeeze out the backside, just wipe it off. The reason I grease those holes because they will allow intrusion of things you don't want in this reel to come in right there, and I always try to block it off with a little bit of grease. Speaking completely hypothetically here, I won't be using this reel in salt water at least. I may use it in fresh water. These 300s, 400, 410, this series of reels, there's a million of them out there. They're very good reels. They've stood the test of time. They'll catch fish. I don't fish with them a lot. I really can't answer for why that is. I just don't. I like the smaller, the 308 and 408 is got to be one of my favorite reels. But I don't do a lot with this the 300 series of reels. Okay, this is going to be a super smooth reel. Super smooth reel. All right, we're going to throw a little bit of pin grease right up in here. Before I do that, I'm going to put some pin grease right here at the back side. It's already dripping some oil out of it, so we'll go ahead and put, this is the plug that goes in the end of, this is where you actually oil everything. When you remove that screw, please use the right screwdriver or it will butterfly it really bad. And it doesn't have to be super tight, 2 fingers tight, okay? This, the peg goes down into that spool shaft, so it rides like that. Okay, more grease. All this stuff's got to work smooth. I always line these up with the right in the middle like that, and then this gear goes on. The 3 little prongs go down, and it'll go on just like that. So when the reel is rotating, see, moves that spool shaft around. Okay, these are spare parts. They go with this. Now let's build the handle plate over here. Okay. Just thinking out loud here for a second. All right. I had to take this out. It rides in that pin and that spring goes up under. I had to take this out to clean it. It was in really ugly shape. I've got the anti-reverse cut off right now, okay? Now, this bearing here needs to be put back together. goes like that. So these bearings, I believe they slide in from the inside. So let's just start dropping them in here, push them in place. You see how these rollers, the needles fell out. So I'm pretty sure, oh, I might be wrong. Let's see if they don't push in from the outside. Maybe they just slide. That's what they do. They slide down in. Okay. So they slide down in from this side. Okay. I'm going to have extras. Both bearings take the same size needles. One of the bearings only had 3 needles in it. It was missing 2, I believe it was. So now I will have one that has all the bearings in it. And I will have spares. Then you put this cage, goes down on there like that. And now everything is secure. These will go into a baggie and be kept for the next one that comes along. It needs bearings in it. Okay. Now once again, we'll put a little bit of grease down in where the bearing rides in the handle. Okay. And we will put the bearing in there, and I'll put some grease on the inside of that. And now, and this did not have any shims on it, so we're going to go ahead and put that in there. Okay. All right. We can go ahead and put the handle on it. I don't recall it having a shim on the handle or a washer. No, it does not. Okay. Remember, it's reverse threads. And I'm a little challenged today. Here we go. Not gonna be able to tighten it up real tight. I'm just gonna get it together, okay? These shims here go on this shaft. They go just like this. This is your pinion, or well, it's your final drive. It goes in there like that. They adjust the depth that it runs against your pinion. I'm going to grease all this up in just a second. Don't get excited. This one will go on here like this. Oh, I forgot something. That's all right. I'll go back and it did have this on the handle. I'll take care of that in just a second. All right, let's get a little bit of grease on it. You don't have to kill this one with grease. You'll choke it up. It'll be choked in a couple of years. These reels have some really tight tolerances on them. Although they do seem to run pretty good on bad grease. We're going to coat that pinion and this gear down in here really good. So to coat the pinion, just rotate it around and get it. The book calls for 2 shims on that gear right there. It only had, well, it had none. It had 0 in it. So I went and dug through my stash and got 2 shims out. Okay, we'll go ahead and put this together and I'll fix that handle. Now, I see one thing I gotta do. I always grease these screw holes up a little bit. Ooh, easy now. These screws are really fine slots in them, and match your screwdriver up or you'll hate life. You'll butterfly them pretty quick, and that's no fun. Okay, want to move it around a little bit. There we go. Of all the years I've messed around with fishing reels, this is the first 410 I've ever held in my hands. I've seen pictures of them on eBay or whatever, but I've never seen one in a flea market or anywhere that, you know, I could put in my hands and buy. So this is a first. It's a pretty cool reel. I love the color. I like the blue designation on these reels. That way you know when you pick one up it's high speed or it's regular speed. You know, it's no question. Well, which model is this? Okay, it's blue. I know it's a high speed reel. So we're going to give the handles some oil there. I'm gonna give this some oil. And it even says high speed right there. Look at that. Isn't that fancy? Now let's wipe it down a little bit. Made in France. It does have somebody's initials on the foot. That's cool. I like the fact that they used it and they loved it enough to say it was theirs. Let's get some grease going around in it. Look at that anti-reverse. You gotta love it. It's almost an instant anti-reverse. And I meant to mention that earlier. When I was taking this apart, I called those bearings anti-reverse bearings because I am stuck on the newer Garcias that have the anti-reverse bearings and the handles and some other reels. And I don't know what I was, when I saw the rollers, the needles, I thought it's an anti-reverse bearing. It is not. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That is a thing of beauty for sure. It's nice and smooth. It'll go just like that. Okay. Got that done. Let's put the spool together. Still has the Garcia playtail sticker on. I was careful to preserve that. This got the fiber washer up here, and then you've got this spring loaded drag adjuster thingy right there. Let's put just a touch of grease. It's plastic to stainless, so it shouldn't be a problem. But let's help it out a little bit. I do have some of the low capacity spools like you would use for smaller line, like 6 pound. And this reel here, I would probably use like 6, 8, 10, or you could probably go all the way to 12 pound on this. Bait clicker works, or line out clicker. I'm real happy with that reel, folks. What do you think? That turned out to be a nice one. I don't have much money. I think I won this at auction for, well, I got a box of reels, so I probably didn't have $15 and a bunch of reels, and I've got some surprises out of that box. I've got some Bash Browns, several of them. I rebuilt one reel out of this box. I've got this Cardinal out of that box. Real happy with that. I mean, are you kidding me? For a few bucks, I can tell you the parts. The most expensive piece was the new bell. That was a brand new in the box or in the bag bell wire. That was $20, I believe it was. That's brand new. The bearing was $7.99, and the shims were like $3.99. Shipping, all in shipping and everything, was less than $32, I believe it was. And that's the whole reel. Let's see what the serial number is on, if I can read. I might have already read this out. I don't know. I can't remember if I did. For you you Abu Garcia heads out there, it's A7014. I believe that's a 5 or 6-2, and I can't tell the last number. That might be all. There's more numbers, but they're scratched over, so I would probably have to grind that seat, paint off that seat, and I don't want to do that. But there it is, 410. That's a high-speed reel. It's beautiful. I'm happy with that. It's staying in the collection. This is John, the Vintage Fisherman. Please like the video and subscribe. And I'm slowing down a little bit on my content. I apologize. I haven't been fishing at all. We had some horrendous storms here last week, right before the weekend, and it just muddied everything up. It was already kind of muddy before the storms hit. So I'm also in the process of, well, you've heard me say it, I'm moving. And so I've got to get everything out of this house. I'm working on the house to get it ready to sell. And once I get settled in, hopefully it won't take me too long to get at least get my fishing reel repair stuff back up. The content will start flowing pretty heavy. I hate to stop in the middle of when the channel's getting going good, but it is life. You have to deal with life first and everything else second. Thanks for watching. This is John, Vintage Fisherman.